Here we have a PS5 that came in for a ripped fan connector. Customer tried to clean the console. He opened up the console and he ended up ripping the fan connector. The customer is local. So as you can see, we have 5 missing pads. Every single pad is missing. And if we take a look at the connector was still stuck to the fan. And it looks something like this. We're gonna have to clean the red pads of the connector. And I already grinded this. The middle pad is ground. Those are the supporting pads on the sides. This one connects with this and this. And then we're gonna have to run the wire from here to here, a big wire. And we're gonna have to run the wire from here to here. Yep, the same. Now, in this video, I want to try something new. I want to restore the side pads using copper tape. A customer came in locally about maybe 3 weeks ago and he brought me this roll. He said, try it. So I want to give it a shot. I want to see how it does and if it's useful. The copper tape looks something like this. And we can try it. It does not hurt to try it and see how it goes. And I thought, let me make a video and show you if that copper tape works or not. Now, the first thing I want to do is apply solder on the exposed copper that we have on the board. And that's why I grinded the traces so we can pre-apply solder. And the reason we want to pre-apply solder is because I want to apply copper tape. And I do not want the tape to be just stuck on the board with adhesive. I want it to be soldered onto the board for a good, secure connection. And the tape looks something like this. We're gonna have to cut the tape. It's too big. Maybe if we cut a piece like this. I mean, either my blade is dull or it's not easy to cut this copper tape. You may have to cut it with a scissor. Let's try this. And it did. It worked. We're gonna have to apply flux because flux helps with the flow of solder. All right, and look at that. That copper tape looks good. It looks good because we can solder that tape onto the board. I mean, it's copper. End of the day, it's copper. So there's no reason why we would not be able to solder that copper tape on the board. Like I said, we do not care about the adhesive on back of the tape because the adhesive will do nothing. When we have the connector on the board, the adhesive is not going to support the connector properly. But since we soldered that tape on the board, now the tape and the board are one piece. How awesome is that? Okay, so now we're going to solder this pad right over here. Okay, and that copper pad and the board are one piece. We're going to have to carry this copper tape in our shop because it's amazing. Maybe we can do the same for pad number 1 on the left. But the hard part would be to actually cut the tape for that size. Maybe if we carry this copper tape in the future, I'll buy a much thinner one. Or we're gonna have to carry a couple of sizes. think we need a longer one. This one is not long enough. I want it to extend all the way to the front because the connector is going to end up hiding that pad and we're not going to be able to see it to solder it. So let's grab a bigger one. Some of you may be asking, why not use a pad strip? Pad strips are microscopic. This one here is bigger and thicker. And we need something bigger and thicker for this big line. And for the middle one. For this one we do not care. We can have a thin wire. But for this one here, we need something big and thick. We're gonna add some flux, just like that. And I'm gonna tin my soldering iron tip, add solder. And let's grab that wire. And now we can trim the end. The magic of the anti-glare light. And what you see here is the adhesive from the copper tape. The adhesive that's on the bottom, it's not a big deal. I want to look into seeing if we can get copper tape without the adhesive. But it would not be called tape anymore. It would be called a copper roll. We'll see. So all this is the adhesive, but we can clean this up later. Not a big deal. Let's cut another piece of tape, copper tape. And we can cut it right here. And like I said, nothing is more accurate than a finger. I'm actually grabbing the tape with my finger and not a tweezer. And now the tape is steady. It's not wobbling and moving all over the place. Nothing is more accurate than your finger. And we'll put a piece of tape right here. I may have flipped this piece of tape. Yeah, let's do it like this. Now this middle pad is ground. We can connect it from the top or bottom. Look at this. I accidentally touched that pad, but that's okay. If that pad wanna play games, we can play games. And finally, we're gonna have to run a wire. Any wire or pad strip would do. Let me grab a pad strip, and I'm using pad strips number 4. Let's see which one. Let's grab this one here. We no longer need this piece of copper tape. Put it on the side, and now we're gonna focus on the pad strip, and we're gonna solder that pad strip right over here. Now I'll be more comfortable if maybe I rotate the console, because I'm grabbing the pad strip with my left hand and we're gonna solder with the right. And if you are a lefty, you can grab the pad strip with your right and solder with your left. It's always best to solder with the hand that you use. Right, and we're done. The console is wobbling, so focus is going in and out, but that's okay. Some of you are saying Hiroshima. Just wait for the end result. The adhesive is the only thing that's bothering me because we have to clean it. If I'm able to get those rolls without the adhesive, that would be a lot better because we don't have to worry about the cleaning part. But I like the idea of the copper tape without the glue. And I want to thank the person who brought this copper tape in locally. And I'm sorry I do not know his name, but he's a follower of the channel. And he was passing by and thought that I may be able to use that tape. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Now let's grab the connector. We're gonna have to clean that connector. But before we clean, we have to focus. And the connector is gonna have to go like this. Now the sides are raised because of the copper tape and solder, but that's okay. We're gonna press it down as much as we can, and then we'll take care of the wires and pads that we ran in the middle. That's at Flux. Once we solder the anchors on the right and left, then everything else is easy. Okay, so we have one end. Let's rotate. And now we're gonna solder this side. Let's focus on the board and not on the connector. So this one is done, and this one is done, and this one here is done. And look at this. The connector is solid. Awesome. Awesome. The connector is solid. Now we're gonna test the 3 pins in the middle, make sure they are making a good connection, and we do that by testing in diode mode. If we get an OL, it means the pin is not making a connection, and if we get anything else, it means the pin is making a connection. Okay, meter in diode mode, and let's measure here. 0.43, awesome. If we measure here, ground, awesome. And if we measure here, we get a 0.52. So we know that those pins are making a connection. Of course, those pins are gonna move because we have the pads under soldered from one side, but that's okay as long as the pins under or the pads under are making a connection, like this one, and this one, then we're all set. We soldered the connector. I'm gonna hand this over to Big Boss to reassemble and test, and maybe I'll end the video with Big Boss testing the console. Big Boss is done with the reassembly. Actually, we did not take the motherboard out. We only removed the top cover. We did not have to remove the motherboard. All the work was from the top. Let's see.
Bismillah.
Yes, the fan is spinning. And we're done. And we should see something on the screen. We took this in so we can fix the fan connector. Yes, right there. And we're done. Thank you, Big Boss. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment if you have any questions, and we'll do something else in the next video.